We need more cowbell. More.
I got a fever. And the only prescription is more cowbell.
Oh.
Or even
The way
intro
you
to
see,
many drummers' favorite
did
Zeppelin
you guys
track,
see how high he's bringing his drumsticks there? He's like, yo, how are you guys doing today? Happy Friday. It's good to see you. I'm having a bit of a bummer day, unfortunately, but you know, that's part of life. And originally I was gonna come on here and kind of just be all happy-go-lucky, but you know, I don't want to fake anything for you guys. You know, everyone has hard days. Things are tough. Life's tough for everyone, so you know, we got to do what we got to do. But enough bumming you guys out. Yesterday I worked all day long on this freaking video, trying to get this #1 video out for you guys. Unfortunately, the copyright guys absolutely hated me. I tried like 5 different versions, all cut up, and nothing. None of it would take. So today, instead of watching just the drum solo from Royal Albert Hall that I had planned with John Bonham, instead we're going to watch the Drumeo version where they go through and break down a ton of John Bonham stuff. And I'm super excited to check this one out with you guys. I think this is going to really bring me up. So I'm going to let you guys watch the original intro I had where I was a little bit happier yesterday before all this went down. Thank you guys. Enjoy past Toby, and thank you guys again. Yo dudes, welcome back to another video. Today we're checking out #1 in our countdown of the top 5 greatest drum solos of all time. If you're new to the channel, my name's Toby Thunder. I've been playing drums for almost 30 years. We've been going through this countdown and we've looked at some amazing drummers. We've watched Paice frickin' shred. We watched Buddy Rich the other week just totally destroy. We watched Neil Peart from Rush, arguably one of the greatest drummers of all time. And same with Terry Bozzio, one of the most amazing solos ever, the Black Page. But guys, there can only be one #1. So today, we're checking out my personal most influential drum solo, #1 greatest drum solo of all time. Remember, this is just my opinion. You guys probably have your own opinions, and I'm sure it's completely different from my opinion, and that's okay. That's why we're here. Without further ado, guys, #1, of course, John Bonham. Greatest drummer of all time in my opinion. Led Zeppelin, they are my #1 favorite band of all time, hands down. Watching The Song Remains the Same on VHS when I was 4 years old was what made me fall in love with music in the first place. So obviously I had to pick Moby Dick for this. One of the greatest solos of all time, hands down, if not #1 greatest of all time. I'm saying it, #1 greatest of all time. This video is live from the Royal Albert Hall. It's one of the most iconic drum solos ever, and it's just so freaking good. John Bonham is in his prime, and he just absolutely shreds this one. I'm so excited to check this one out with you guys. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe, and let's get into it.
Moby Dick.
Alright, let's check it out, guys. Alright, so that's the original song I was going to do for #1, guys.
And not just to look at you and see what you are. I mean, I remember when I first went to
Dude,
see
John
Levee,
is the man.
It was to look at them, you know. It wasn't, you didn't really bother what you were listening to.
Yeah.
And today,
Honestly, guys, it
what
makes
you-
sense to do this longer version, actually, for #1. I kind of like this better now because and we get to really dive deep into John, man.
you are. It's what you're playing.
Oh, yeah.
John Bonham was arguably the greatest rock drummer in history.
Yep.
You may know him by the name Bozzio or recognize his Led Zeppelin symbol with the
Bozzio.
3 interlocking circles. Or maybe he was the very first drummer you ever saw playing an acrylic drum kit in the 70s. Bozzio was a force to be reckoned with. His drumming was a display of sheer power and energy, which was showcased on every single Led Zeppelin record.
Oh, yeah, guys.
And during every live
Some of the best
performance
drumming
that he did.
ever.
There's so many reasons why John Bonham was so great, and by the end of this video, I think you'll agree with me that John Bonham was a true drumming genius.
Oh, yeah.
That is, if you don't think so already.
Oh, we do.
Let's dive in.
We definitely already think so. Ah, iconic.
The term power has become synonymous with Bonham's drumming, and when I think about that word
Yep.
and John Bonham's drum parts, songs like Dazed and Confused, Rock and Roll,
Yep.
and In My Time of Dying are just a few
Amazing
tracks that come
stuff.
to mind. The way he plays the opening groove on Rock and Roll,
Oh,
the way
yeah.
he plays the shots and the drum fills after the guitar solo on In My Time of Dying,
Dun, dun, dun.
and we can't forget that very first drum fill in Dazed and Confused that transitions into the main 12/8 groove.
Oh,
Or even
the way
intro
you
to
see
many drummers' favorite
did
Zeppelin
you guys
track,
see how high he's bringing his drumsticks there? He's like, oh man, it's so good.
Achilles' Last Stand off of Presence.
John's drumming on Achilles' Last Stand was ferocious.
Oh, this is
It's a
John
ferocious number.
Paul Jones.
It's a complicated part, but it takes a lot of technique to keep going and to sound fresh.
There's a track on Presence called For Your Life, and also Achilles' Last Stand.
Oh yeah.
They really exemplify how he could move like the tide within a track and create so much excitement.
Bonham redefined
wouldn't
what
be
it
the-
meant to be a rock drummer, and a huge
Honestly, the music wouldn't have sounded anything like Led Zeppelin without John Bonham, and that's the truth. He really was like iconic part of the sound, and that's why I think they chose not to like go forward when his passing happened, unfortunately. But yeah,
huge part of that was the way that he played the kit, with an incredible amount of power and energy.
Oh yeah.
But Bonham also had discipline when he played, and he knew exactly what the music needed. What Is and What Should Never Be off of Led Zeppelin 2 is a great example of this. Listen to the way Bonham transitions from the verse to the chorus, where he starts light on the ride with a cross stick, and then he moves into a much louder driving groove in the chorus.
Dynamics. So that's something I think we're kind of missing nowadays a lot in music. I mean, there's definitely bands that do it, but more often than not, there's a lot of like really loud, kind of just aggressive, loud music, or like one volume music. Whereas having dynamics is something that older bands like Deep Purple, Led Zeppelin, Rush, those guys really were great at, and I think it brought a lot of dynamicism and musicality to the music. It makes it so much more interesting when it's not just like one volume the whole time. Really shouldn't
Bonham's drumming
go.
was powerful, whether it was live or in the studio, and that's something that remained true throughout his entire career with Led Zeppelin.
The best I can. Oh, that
So
kick
Led
drum.
Zeppelin releases their debut album, and this is the very first time the world has ever heard the band. And within 10 bars on the opening track, Good Times, Bad
It's cool that they have the
Times, we hear
notation.
Bonham start playing these crazy fast bass drum doubles, unlike any other rock drummers were playing at that time. And over the years, this type of playing became part of Bonham's signature sound, and it's something he's recognized for to this day. Here's what Bonham's playing in the first verse of Good Times, Bad Times, where he starts to introduce these bass drum doubles.
We need more cowbell. More.
So you're
So
going to hear
good.
this type of playing all over the first Led Zeppelin record, in Bonham's grooves and fills, but also on other tracks like Out on the Tiles, Since I've Been Loving You, Kashmir, and Black Dog.
Yep.
Let's take a listen to the intro of Black Dog off the fourth Led Zeppelin record, and then I'll demo just the drum part.
Yeah.
There's no question that
great.
you're going to hear Bonham's incredible bass drum work on every single Led Zeppelin
Homie
record.
over here
But
is
some
doing
other specific tracks I would check out.
a good job at kind of like demoing these drum parts. I'm pretty impressed, man. He's got a kit that's kind of tuned up like John, and he's just going for it. He's really kind of mimicking these little parts. It's really cool.
Our communication
Not easy.
breakdown, where Bonham plays some faster eighth note groupings with the kick. And also Heartbreaker, All My Love, Out on the Tiles, and the Wonton
He's just
Song,
naming some
where
of their
you can hear
best
Bonham
songs.
play some quicker groupings of 3 as well.
Man, that is a stank face rhythm. Bum, bada, bada, ba, bum, bum. Ba, bum, ba, bum,
So
ba,
I hope
ba,
you're
ba.
enjoying this deep dive into John Bonham's drumming, and I just wanted to take a second and let you know that we've transcribed the entire Led Zeppelin discography for you inside of Drumeo. I know when I first got into Led Zeppelin,
That's so
and
cool.
John
They
Bonham's
have it all
drumming, I was
transcribed.
always looking for transcriptions and trying to figure out what John
I think
Bonham
it's
was
interesting
playing on so many
how
of those iconic tracks.
I think it's really interesting how different drummers take on like different learning situations. Like he's saying that when he went to go learn John Bonham stuff, he went and tried to go look for transcriptions, which I think is kind of crazy, to be honest, man. Who the hell's looking for John Bonham? John Bonham didn't go look for transcriptions. I bet you that. Man, yeah, the way I would learn them is just to listen to the records, listen to the songs, listen to the albums over and over and over again, and you can really kind of just get an ear for what he's playing. But I'm old school. I mean, and I probably kind of suck at reading anyway, so it's just not my thing. But a lot of people are really good at transcriptions and all that. Let me know in the comments. Do you guys go out and search for transcriptions when you go to learn a new music, or do you do it by ear and just listen to the album 1,000 times until you get it right? I'm curious. Let me know.
So all you need to do is click the link right below this video, and you can get a 7-day free trial.
Guys,
of
I
Drumeo
say it
to
every
check out
video.
all
Go
of those
support
iconic
Drumeo. Go
tracks.
check them out.
And
They're
with that,
doing
let's
great
move
things.
on and let's check out what makes John Bonham's feel so incredible.
The Bonham feel.
What a lot of drummers forget is that Bonham was influenced by jazz, blues, and R&B.
I was about to say,
Jazz
his drumming came from old blues drumming and playing those old blues tunes. So that's where he gets that feel, and he's really got a ton of groove and feel from that old jazz blues stuff. I'm sure he's gonna mention that.
Drummers like Joe Morello, Buddy Rich, Gene Krupa, and Max Roach.
Buddy Rich was on our list. Go check that video out, guys.
Just listen to tracks like Good Times, Bad Times, or the Lemon Song, and you'll hear the beauty of Bonham's one-of-a-kind time feel.
Ugh, dirty.
And speaking of his laid-back feel, just listen to the shots at the end of the first chorus in Out on the Tiles, and you're really going to hear him lay back on each one of those hits.
Yeah, he's really laying back hard on that.
Now the thing about Bonham was
if you hear those hits, yeah, he's laying back. So what that means is he's basically playing on the very back end of the notes. Like every note, if you think of a note when you hit something like that, it has 3 parts. You have a front end of the beat, you have a back end of the beat, and you kind of have right on in the center of the beat. And what he's saying is that Bonham has a way of playing things right, kind of leaning back a little bit and playing them right on the end of the beat. So it's almost late. Like if you went on a computer and you looked at it, the notes, it would probably look just so slightly late. But that just so slightly late bit is what makes it groove and feel and sound kind of dirty, and you want to rock your head to it. You know what I mean?
that his time wasn't metronomically perfect, but that was part of what made his time feel so incredible.
Yeah.
He had the ability to push and pull the time depending on where the music was going. And to take things further, during a fill or a groove, he'd often adjust the feel using straight 8th or 16th notes, or even triplets to change things up entirely, even just for a brief second. On tracks like Since I've Been Loving You and No Quarter, you'll hear Bonham's brilliant
No
use
Quarter
of
is one of my favorite
subdivisions
songs
and how
ever.
he uses them to influence the feel of the music.
Oh, it's so good. Ba- Yeah.
Another part of Bonham's unique feel was his use of syncopation, which you can hear on so many Led Zeppelin tracks. The way he shifts the kick patterns and even the backbeats off of the quarter and 8th note beats to the E's and the ahs is definitely a tip of the hat to jazz and R&B influences.
When we went off to America, we were really exposed to so much more breadth of music, and John really devoured the great drummers of the time, Alphonse Mouzon, Bernard Purdie,
Well, this type of playing is evident even on the earlier Led Zeppelin records. Some of my favorite examples are on the later records like Houses of the Holy and In Through the Outdoor, where Bonham uses a ton of syncopated hi-hat openings as well. Two great examples.
I think In Through the Outdoor is probably my least favorite Zeppelin album. What do you guys think? Do you have a least favorite Zeppelin album? Is that even something you've ever thought of? Do you like all of their albums? Do you have one that you just can't stand? Let me know, guys. I want to know.
The Crunch and
I want to know about you. Ah. Such a good groove. This is probably the best song on that album. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. Monumental, man.
John Bonham had a way of creating grooves that had a melody within themselves. And these grooves were so recognizable that really anyone could recognize them, even if they didn't play drums. So if I were to play something like this...
Did you just say that they're so recognizable that anyone could recognize them? Okay. Thought so.
You know immediately that that's the intro from Rock and Roll from Led Zeppelin 4.
That's one of the hardest, that's actually one of the hardest things to do in drumming or in any music ever. And if you can manage to pull it off, you are tend to be one of the greats in your genre or whatever. Because to be able to be recognizable, to be able to play one riff and hear one note, you know, just a few notes and be able to be like, I know who that is. I know who that is. Like a couple come to mind, like Michael Jackson, you know immediately. AC/DC, you know immediately. Led Zeppelin, you know immediately. And that is something that is super important, iconic. Black Sabbath, another one. One of the hardest things to do, for sure. But yeah.
You know that that's the opening
So
groove
good.
from Immigrant Song off of Led Zeppelin 3.
Yep.
These types of grooves have Bonham's signature all over them, and as history has proven, they've really stood the test of time. Here's a few other classic Bonham grooves that you may recognize.
So good. Yeah. Sounds great,
the last
man.
one we'll look at is from When the Levee Breaks, one of Bonham's most famous
When the
and
Levee
probably
Breaks.
most debated drum grooves of all time.
Debated.
Take a quick listen to this.
Is it because he used he played in the hallway or whatever? It's a lot. It's an effect.
So, when they recorded this groove in the lobby of Headley Grange, they used 2 microphones mounted about halfway up the first set of stairs. They compressed the drums like crazy and then ran everything through a Binson Echo Rec delay device, which resulted in the classic affected groove that you hear on the record.
Yeah.
Now, without any effects, this is the groove that Bonham actually played on that recording. And if you don't believe me, I challenge you to go do some of your own research.
Yep.
Here we
No,
go.
he played it simple. That's interesting, actually. It's even less than I expected.
Now, when Bonham played the song live with the band, he would still add in the kick on the E of beat 1, which you hear produced by the delay on the record. And he'd also add in some ghost notes and other embellishments as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. See, this is what we came here for. The drum solo. Wow. So good.
So we're talking about John Bonham,
playing with
and
his
we
hands.
have to talk about his legendary drum solos. On record, there's only 2 that were released. Moby Dick from Led Zeppelin 2, previously known as Pat's Delight, and Bonzo's Montreux from Coda, which was released a few years after Bonham passed away.
Yep.
But when Zeppelin was touring, Bonham would do a 15 to 30-minute solo pretty much every single show while the rest of the band took a break. And these quickly became an audience highlight early on for Zeppelin fans.
We'd do the Moby Dick intro, then he'd start playing. But he'd go through everything. He'd be doing complicated rhythm patterns. You know, it's his chance to have some fun.
So Bonham had a standard outline for his solos, but what he would play each night was
change all the
always
time,
different.
yeah.
He would start with sticks, then move into playing with his hands on the kit, sometimes even including some congas, which he usually had over on his left side. And then on tours where he had a pair of timpanis, he would
timpanis
do
and
an
a gong.
entire section using those before ending the solo with sticks again. So to start, let's look at some classic Bonham ideas that he would use in his solos and also in his drum fills as well. The first being his signature Bonham triplets.
Yep. Can't talk about John without talking about the Bonham triplets. Look at that. Wow. So explosive, and just his energy is just amazing. The crossovers too. Yeah. Yeah, his right left kick over and over again. Sometimes he would add 2 kicks, so it'd be right left kick, right left kick. But he would do, if you move it around the kit and you do crossovers and stuff with your hands, you make it look really cool and do it really, really fast, obviously. And also just having the explosive energy of John Bonham, it's hard to match that.
So then he would move that idea around the kit in a whole bunch of different ways.
Yeah.
But the most famous is using crossovers like this.
Yeah. Yeah, there it is. It just looks so cool.
Another triplet-based idea that Bonham would use all the time, and especially in the recorded version of Moby Dick from Led Zeppelin 2, was one based on the single-stroke 4 rudiment, often called bucket of fish, which was right, left, right, kick. Bonham was a fan of jazz drummer Max Roach, and this was a melodic idea that Max used quite often in his jazz playing and in his
that's
solos.
cool.
So who knows? Maybe Bonham actually picked this idea up from Max in the first place.
Maybe.
The idea sounds like this.
He used that one all the time. You can go that way, and then you can go backwards. Yeah. Use that same idea, just move different toms around.
Sometimes he played this idea exactly like that around the kit, but oftentimes he also worked it into a 3-beat phrase, something you can hear him do quite often in his solos and also in his drum fills. Here's one of Bonham's drum fills from the song No Quarter off of Houses of the Holy, where you can hear him use this idea in a 3-beat phrase.
Oh yeah. Classic rock drumming.
Moving into the second part of Bonham's solos, he usually started playing with his hands instead of drumsticks. Check out some of these moments from solos he performed in 1970 and in 1977.
Guys, first off, you got to realize how tough this is. Like, yeah, I have soft hands, and I used to try to do this just for fun because I've always been a John Bonham fan, and it hurts, man. You can really hurt yourself. It is not easy. He was a gigantic dude, though. Big ass hands, probably. Oh yeah, so good.
Pretty crazy what he could do during
yeah,
this part
so
of his
cool.
solo. And in that last clip, you even saw him use a set of congas,
Yeah.
which he toured with in the early 70s, and that gave him a nice contrast in pitch compared to his low-tuned toms. The third section of his solo is where he started using timpani. He started touring with these around 1972, so over the years, his solos continued to evolve based on the gear that he was touring with. Check out this clip of Bonham
cool.
soloing with the timpani to the left of his kit.
I think he's just hitting him with sticks too, like drumsticks. If you don't know, normally timpani would be played with like a mallet,
So that's
which
pretty
is
crazy,
like
right?
got a
Sounds
cushiony
like they're
end.
hooked up to some kind of synth or phaser or something like that, but all he's doing is rapidly adjusting the pitch of the drum using the pedal on the timpani. And this was just another way he captivated the audience during his drum solos. A John Bonham drum solo was a work of art. It was a display of technical ability, dynamic control, spontaneous creativity, and different textures ranging from sticks to hand drumming to timpani and even strikes of the gong. This idea of exploring different textures on the kit is something we also see Bonham experiment with on Led Zeppelin recordings like 4 Sticks, where he's literally playing with 2 sticks in each hand.
Yeah. Yeah, playing with 2 sticks in each hand gets him that clicky sound.
Occasion of Bonham playing with brushes. And also in the evening where he's heard playing timpani during the intro section. So we've made it to the end, and I hope you've enjoyed diving into the history and drumming of John Bonham.
Of course.
Now, I'd love to hear from you. What is your favorite John Bonham drum recording or Led Zeppelin song?
Oh man,
Inside of Drumeo,
No
we
Quarter
also have
is
the
my favorite.
entire Led Zeppelin discography transcribed note for note. So if you want to learn more about any of these songs we went over here or any other songs in the Led Zeppelin catalog, you can check those out on the Drumeo site. Thank you so much for watching.
Guys, check out Drumeo. Go look them up. Go watch all their stuff. They're amazing. They put out the best drum countdown on the internet, besides me, of course. Yeah. John Bonham is the best drummer, in my opinion, on the earth. I would not be a drummer if not for him. If not for him influencing me and inspiring me to get on this amazing instrument. And I think he continues to inspire people to this day to get on the drum. As you guys know, this list was in no real specific order. I just wanted to pick the most influential drum solos to me and share them with you guys. All these drummers are amazing in their own right. And there's so many drummers and drum solos that I've totally missed. Doing this countdown has just been awesome, and now we got to figure out a new series to replace it. If you guys have any ideas for series you want to see, let me know in the comments. I'm always open to talking to you guys. You guys are so awesome. Thank you guys so much. Make sure you guys follow me on Instagram and TikTok. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay metal.